Oh yeah.
I did not respond.
Once you get kicked out of Slack, that's permanent. There's no undoing that.
He got kicked out. He got kicked out, Joey, over being rude to a guy who ended up being the rudest, craziest guy who ever joined our Slack.
And that guy quit too. That guy quit Patreon for so
mocked so relentlessly one day for saying that John Morant and Jaren Jackson were going to be like all-star level players this year, which they are.
Yeah.
All right, it's not a wholesome place where we live.
It's a great moment. All right.
Let me fill my water up and then I'm ready to rock.
So I'm picking up. I had a big Cavs thing for my apology, or for my worst. So I'm thinking about changing it.
Don't, because mine isn't really about the Cavs.
Okay.
It's about Ricky Rubio.
Well,
and
but
just
we mentioned
how we forced him to see the worst cities in America as such a beautiful man. It's like almost like an A-team sort of thing.
Okay.
We're just sending the sweetest man alive to the worst places in America.
All right, that sounds good. So I will keep my Cavs thing. So Joey's going to do a Rubio apology, but we're going to hold off from going wholesale into the Cavaliers in the trade.
I love it because I wanted to do Rubio also. So yeah.
So save. Don't go full into the.
Don't talk about the trade.
Don't go full. Yeah, we'll skirt around it. Here we go. All right. Welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith, here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer. I'm here with John Burr.
Hey now.
And with Joey Devine.
Hey, that's me.
Hey, Joey. Welcome back to the show. Chuck dropped off a notice, like a Cold War spy. He left it in the drop spot.
Well, he's in full ketosis. He can't
he's like,
right
I'm going on an internet and phone free wilderness retreat. I'll check back in 72 hours. I'm supposed to. This is weird. I'm supposed to leave a chalk mark on a bench when he's ready to check back in. So that's the way we're doing it now.
He said no internet of any kind, but then they made the mistake of wishing Keith happy birthday via the internet yesterday.
Yeah. He's like, no internet of any kind. And he texts, hey, happy birthday, buddy. Like, all right.
I spoke to him on the phone yesterday. I mean,
that's our Chuck. We love him. But anyway, Joey, thanks for filling in. I just got a delivery. I was a little bit late for this show. I got a delivery of I needed a wiper. The passenger side wiper blade on my car. It's kind of fraying, coming apart a little bit. I try not to, I've been trying to wean myself off Amazon a little bit. Just, let's, when I can, support a non-Amazon place. But I'm like, you know what? I'm still in health and safety protocols. It's a pain going anywhere. I will have this delivered to me. I ordered, it's a 16-inch wiper, came in a 3.5-foot box. It's like it's an Amazon box.
So did your children think you ordered them a hockey stick?
They were like, what is that? And I was like, it is a 16-inch wiper blade. It's very, very small. Came in 3.5-foot box. I guess I can reuse it somehow, but also Nashville. They've ended recycling services because
They came back today.
Oh, is it back on?
Came back today. Yes.
Is it back on? Yeah.
Today was the first day they picked up our recycling this year.
They've had staffing shortages, hiring people. We're Nashville horribly in debt. Property taxes went through the roof recently. Our city is growing massively. And they're like, you know what? We ran out of money to pay garbage men. And we're gonna stop non-essential services. So
episode of Rock Live over here.
Yeah. And I got to say, in the little neighborhood I'm in, when the recycling stops coming, it's just anarchy. People just throwing boxes in the streets.
I live in California, and I think California would consider recycling the most essential service.
Right. You have like 72 different cans.
Yeah, they would stop I don't know, buses before they stopped recycling.
Right.
Well, they did. You guys did stop caring about the homeless before you stopped.
Well,
recycling.
I mean,
well, yeah,
but I could get into that for way too long.
That's fine.
And also, I would be saying some things I was told not to say right before the podcast started.
You're right.
It's Olympics season. Sometimes we have to sweep the homeless into different places. That's just how society. That's how
you just curl them on out of here.
Have you guys watched the Olympics?
No.
I actually have watched some Olympics. They're doing snowboarding in what I think is a Call of Duty level. They're doing snowboarding ski jump. They're doing ski jump amidst like nuclear reactors and giant cooling towers.
That sounds cool. Maybe I'll watch the Olympics.
It looks amazing.
It sounds like the beginning of a Pierce Brosnan James Bond.
It 100% is the
I am invincible.
But it's like the announcers are like, what a fabulous setting for a downhill slope. You're like, there are these giant, we're in an industrial park. There's nothing. Nice. There are no mountains nearby. There's no snow nearby. It's just these huge coolant towers with Beijing 2022.
I can't wait till Keith builds these Lego sets next year.
Oh, it looks like a video game, which is like, oh, maybe that's just what the world actually looks like. I thought that's what video games were, making up these fantastical worlds. No. That's just what it actually looks like out there.
So I've been in lockdown so long that, unlike Keith, I've gone into like maybe Amazon Affliction, where I will order anything for Amazon, from Affliction t-shirts to I just
you
today,
said Affliction twice. You were going to.
I did receive 10
some
copies
Tom Hardy shirts.
10 copies of Ben Golliver's book, which was for some reason $3, and I was like, that guy I think has been on our show, so I should buy these. I buy every kind of. I got this today. Apparently, this is an entire bidet. I buy any bidet that I see. Is it a
Tushy?
Looking for the best bidet.
You're holding up a small cardboard box. It looks like a Harry shave kit. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I don't think this is.
I'm not sure if our Harry shave kit code still works, guys.
No, that doesn't look like a bidet at all. That looks like a faucet.
I think it is a bidet, though. I think it's a handheld bidet that I'm supposed to like.
I think Joey, bidet or faucet, it's just all where you aim it.
That's true.
So I guess I'll have to return this one.
I have a question. I have an ethics question for you guys regarding Amazon.
I thought we discussed we weren't going to have these questions.
Oh, well, no, here's one. I got an email. I have an email address. My Google email address is generic enough where I get a lot of emails not addressed to me. They're not intended for me. I used to get a ton of like.
It's called IT help desk at gmail.com. Email.
I was an early adapter and I got support at gmail.com. And I used to get all these like soccer tournament ones, like always there's some soccer coach out there with a very similar name to me. I got a lot of marching band ones, which were like, hey, here's your band's photos from this marching band. Just highlight the ones your school's paying for. And I'm frequently tempted to do things because of this. I also recently received an Amazon gift card. It was not to me. I mean, it came to my email and I was like, oh, this is obviously not for me. It says congratulations to some name I've never heard of. But I don't know what to do. It's no reply. It's just from Amazon. It just says, congratulations. Here's your.
Are you sure it's from Amazon and not a phishing scheme?
It wasn't a phishing. Yeah. No. It was definitely legit from Amazon, and it had the. I mean, it was from like no reply at Amazon.com, and so I saw the thing, and I'm like, there's no way to.
How much is it?
It was only $35, so it wasn't like a huge.
How many Legos can that get you?
None. The kind I need, not enough. It doesn't even scratch the itch anymore.
10% of one box.
I feel nothing with $35 of Lego now. That's
like that'll get you the Lego man, and the only other piece is the hair that you put on.
So I was curious. I'm like, I want to give this back because it looked like it was some kind of like, it was like for a kid. It was something where it's like, here you go. And it was like, hey, Karen, this is for, and then it was like another name. And I figured the K initial, that's again, a hint at what my email address might be. It was a hint. I think it's supposed like it's for like a kid's birthday party or something. And I felt bad. And I was like, I felt bad for the person who spent the money. And I was like, my options in my mind, do I use this money? Or if I don't use it, that's just money Amazon got. That doesn't seem good. I should use it before Amazon should get it. And then I went on Amazon chat support.
You can order a piece of a bidet.
Yeah. I went on support and I'm like, hey, I received a gift card that's not for me. Is there any way to return it? Or to can you guys cancel that order? And they're like, well, we can't contact the person who bought it.
They won't let you return anything. If you try to return something, they're like, keep it forever. Cheers.
No, that is true as far as physical things.
Yes.
Another Amazon hack, buy anything under $10. It's free.
Yeah.
Because if you return it, that it's not worth their time to pay to ship it back. And they'll say, just keep it. That's a life hack from Fastbreak Breakfast. You're welcome.
Even larger things. Like I bought something for $200, wanted to return it. And they're like, instead of returning it, will you just accept $75 back?
Oh yeah. No.
I was like, well, I guess
they've got algorithms.
I'm really lazy.
Again, this is shopping at Amazon. You'd think it's like a fixed price situation. No. You can, after the fact, there's lots of things you can do to lower your costs. But chatting with the person, they're like, we can't contact the person. Where I'm like, what? Can you just cancel the order or something? And then the chatter's like, oh, you know what? I took care of it. And I didn't know. So my question is, did they actually refund the person? Did the person I was chatting with keep the thing? Because I gave them an order number. I didn't give them the actual code. I gave them the order number. Did I do the right thing? I feel like I did the right thing. But two, did the person I was chatting with just take that gift card for themselves? Or was this person actually refunded?
Because that probably wasn't even a human.
Right.
Probably like AI.
It was convincing AI.
This could be the beginning.
We're talking to a spaceship.
I assume I crossed the threshold where like I actually got to a live support person, but maybe not. Maybe Keith, it was all.
Here's what I want you to do now.
Yeah.
I want you to click on that order number and see if it's still.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. I should now try to use that $35 gift card.
Now
I have the code.
Now that you've done the right thing, take the $35.
You know what? You're absolutely right, Joey. Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to do that.
That seems like the absolute worst outcome.
Hey, I contact them and all I'm doing.
They're gonna start the process of sending it to someone else. That other person is gonna finally get it. Click on it. And it's gonna be like, this has already been redeemed.
Yeah. Let's do breakfast. Have you guys had breakfast? Joey, did you have a Red Bull and a cigarette?
I did. In fact, speaking of Amazon, the smartest thing I did during the early pandemic was I set up an Amazon subscribe and save where once a month they send me an entire case of yellow Red Bulls.
In the bar industry, we just call the people who order yellow Red Bulls wife beaters.
Well, they're delicious. They taste much less like poison than regular Red Bulls.
Yeah. You're like, why does my tab say WB? Wonderful, best guy.
But I'm on number 2 today.
That's already amazing. A little peek behind the curtain. We're recording this late in my day. I texted Joey 7 hours ago to see if he could come on the show because Chuck was on a wilderness walk.
He's a Burning Man.
And Joey texted me like 35 minutes ago. Hey, I just woke up. I'm in.
Well, full disclosure, I've been having a lot of trouble sleeping lately, and I haven't been going to bed until like 5 a.m.
Nice.
And then only sleeping for like 3 hours, like waking up at like 8 a.m. and then falling back asleep at like 9 a.m.
That's too many wife beaters, Joey.
Yeah.
Have you considered not drinking so many Red Bulls?
Yes, and it made it worse.
Oh, okay.
Full disclosure, if you're not watching on YouTube, Joey is rocking back and forth like Leo Mazzoni right now.
Is it all the online gaming? Are you playing too much
no
Apex Legends or something?
I mean, I do. First off, new season of Apex Legends. Joe, if you want to play Apex Legends with me, join my club Roundball Rock on Apex Legends.
Also, by the way, I called it Apex Legends, and I would just like that to stay out there.
But no, I kind of don't have like a job right now. Like I'm doing a lot of freelance stuff, and the best time my brain works for like is like from like midnight to 4.
You're creative.
That's like my most creative time period, and it's fucking everything up.
Yeah.
Sorry,
let's cut the crap. Keith, there is a brand new premiere season of a show called Jack Reacher on Amazon Prime
Reacher.
right now.
It's called Reacher, first of all.
And now what we call this, when that comes out, you call a session, how many episodes is it? 8?
It's 8.
And an 8-episode session of or a reach around, as we call it in the biz.
Yeah.
That takes, that requires a full day.
I watched it all in one day. Yeah.
I finished it late last night.
I literally told Joey before we started, let's not talk too much Reacher. I didn't tell you, John.
Sorry.
That can be a part. But anyway, I'm halfway through Reacher. I got thoughts.
Anytime you cast a 6.5 foot behemoth in a zeitgeisty show, I'm there.
Yeah.
Keith told me, hey, not too much leftist politics and also not too much Reacher talk. And I was like,
let's do Reacher talk at the end. Let's do Reacher talk at the end. That's all I said. Let's keep the Reacher at the end. A lot of Reacher talk coming
up. What
up.
Position are we putting Reacher on the court right now?
That's a tease. No, John, what's your breakfast? We're in the breakfast, guys. Let's stay on script. Stay on format.
I'll take your 2 wife beaters and raise you 4 brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts.
Oh,
that's the best kind. That's easily my favorite Pop-Tart.
What you do is you take 2 of them. You do what Caitlin Cooper tells us. You put a layer of butter on them, and then you make a sandwich with the butter in the middle. What Joey's making a face like that, like that's gross. Not like John didn't just say he ate 4 Pop-Tarts for breakfast.
That's 4 servings.
The idea of putting melted butter on icing is a little much for me.
You just want to see how the sausage gets made, Joe. If someone served that to you, you'd be like, "This is amazing. What is this glaze?" You're like, "It's just butter. It's just butter on icing."
4:30 in the morning. It was the only food I could get. I was starving. I needed it. And it was, it got me. I was awake by the time I had to do whatever.
I mean, I shouldn't criticize because my breakfast was a slice of vanilla bean cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory.
Whoa.
Like I said, like it's already been
young.
What has already been hinted at. 1, I'm in health and safety protocols, have been for over a week. 2, it was my birthday recently.
Happy birthday again, Keith.
Thank you very much. I am Pascal Siakam jersey years old.
Hope you wanted a $3.97 version of Ben Golliver's newest book.
I got it. It was awesome. That's how I found out that it was only $3.15. Someone was like, "Hey, can I bring you guys a meal? Like a birthday meal or something just for fun that you would like?" And my wife suggested it, and it sounded hilarious to me. I hadn't been to the Cheesecake Factory in, I don't know, 15 years. And I'm like, getting to go Cheesecake Factory, it strikes me as funny. And so I did it. And I had saved the cake. I honestly forgot to eat the cake.
How many QAnon supporters did you have to walk by that were trying to shut that Cheesecake Factory down?
Or are they against it? I don't know.
Yeah,
my relative brought it to me because they went and picked it up. So I don't know. I don't know what the situation was there.
Cheesecake
Factory, but I've always heard there's like 7 billion menu items.
Yeah. The menu is like it's probably as long as Genesis.
Oh, nice.
Abacab.
Yeah. Told you to stay with the Old Testament.
Lamb Lies on Broadway. Which Genesis we talking about?
Anyway, so we all had incredible between the 3 of us. Cheesecake, 4 Pop-Tarts, Red Bull, and a cigarette. So that is. We should give that a name.
That's also what Dwight Howard eats for breakfast. All of it. Yeah.
Anyway, those were our breakfasts. After our breakfasts, we move to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong in a previous episode. It is frequently the first time we talk about the NBA. We're only about 17, 18 minutes in. So now is good as a time as any to start.
Look, I tried to ask
basketball.
What position Jack Reacher should play, and no one.
I do want to talk about that, John.
Could he? He seems like a non-spacing big, but he's too small to be a front court.
He absolutely can space the floor.
You think
accuracy?
Okay.
You saw, well, you were
No,
only
I've only seen 4.
Oh.
So you haven't seen him. Okay.
No spoilers if there's a
shoot a gun
basketball
yet.
scene at the at the end. No, I'll start the apologies. Last week's episode, I got a couple of things I got wrong. Well, one, we were recording on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We made some jokes
Sabbath.
about Cade Cunningham and Evan Mobley. They were playing a basketball game while we were recording.
Cade was.
And it turns out, we got a little egg on our face that Cade Cunningham had a tremendous second half. He went 0 for 10 in the first half, and the Pistons came back and defeated the Cavaliers in that game. Cade Cunningham ended up with a triple-double. So I apologize for any things we might have thrown Cade Cunningham's way as far as criticisms of him not being the same class of player of Evan Mobley. It's still very early in the year. He's been very, very good recently. And that specifically, it felt uncomfortable releasing that show basically right after Cade Cunningham had a huge moment, beating the far superior Cleveland Cavaliers team. I'm sorry for that.
Friend of the show, Katie Heindel at Summer League, pointed out to me that Cade Cunningham looks like a vampire. And now it's all I can think of when I look at him. It looks like a
Anne
Blade
Rice vampire.
No, like a Blade style vampire.
Oh, like
yeah.
Okay. A cool vampire.
Yeah, she's like she said he has big Drac energy to me at one point.
Ooh, okay.
Wow.
So and now you'll be able to you won't be able to unsee that either next time you see Cade Cunningham's face.
I'm all
Sexy
for
vampire.
Yeah.
I also like to apologize when we were naming our all-star reserves, when John and I were saying our all-star reserves, and I thought I was going kind of out on a limb there in picking Darius Garland. No, it turns out I'm just very, very basic. The coaches also selected Darius Garland. I didn't have to feel like not confident with my selection. So I should have believed in myself and just gone full bore. Yes, Darius Garland is an all-star. So I apologize, for misstepping there a tiny bit. John, what's your apology?
Well, it seems especially topical since Giuseppe is with us this week, but I'll apologize to Draymond Green for purposefully snubbing him from my all-star team.
Thank you.
I was punishing someone who didn't deserve to be punished. It's not really his fault that Andrew Wiggins is somehow starting for the all-star team, but obviously if I'm going to make an impassioned defense for my Jaren Jackson Jr. selection on the grounds of his defensive contributions, you have to do the same for Draymond.
Are you upset? How are you handling the news that Adam Silver named DeJounte Murray and LaMelo Ball as the all-star replacements? We had a hope.
I just feel like the great Carlisle predicting all of these things correctly. I feel okay about it.
You feel okay. I think Adam Silver did a good job. This all-star game, the 12 reserves, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of boring dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's an all-star game. Chris Middleton, go do something cool. He's not going to do anything cool. He's just a good basketball player. He's a basketball robot. There wasn't a lot of excitement, and I felt like, especially the LaMelo Ball pick, the game needs LaMelo Ball. Jared Allen got snubbed again. I think Jared Allen has a legitimate case of being snubbed. The game's in Cleveland. He was the top in the front court as part of like the weighted vote of the players, fans, and media. Jared Allen would be next up if they followed that pattern. He's like, no, we need LaMelo Ball because this team is boring.
Need him. Yeah.
I do want to say, I do think Darius Garland making it over Evan Mobley is going to look a lot like that time David Lee made it over Steph Curry, like a few years ago. In hindsight.
And if it had been Jared Allen, then it would be like a lot like, I don't know, it'd be like Coutinho Mobley making.
Well, that's the same thing. But also, if Jared Allen made it, we don't need like Jared Allen do something cool. What's he going to do? Get offensive rebounds? They should have instead of DeJounte, they should have done like Anthony Edwards. Just so DeJounte Murray, I think that pick is a little bit like, I understand it. It feels like Adam Silver just reading the blogs and going with that. Do they think that they're getting San Antonio fans to watch?
The hipster intern.
Yeah, like I do think like DeJounte Murray over like Anthony Davis feels a bit extreme.
Oh, yeah.
I know Suns fans are all like Mikal Bridges. I saw Hollinger was saying Mikal Bridges. Listen, Mikal Bridges should absolutely be the replacement player in the All-Star game that is exclusively for players who will never be one of the best 2 players on their team. We can put him in that one. That one would be awesome.
Jared Allen, there you go.
Jared Allen could also be in that one. Yeah.
Plus, I mean, Andrew Wiggins is basically just Mikal Bridges now, and he's starting. Like that's
right.
Like
we
same,
already. Well, I mean,
guy. We have that guy.
Andrew Wiggins is a much worse Mikal Bridges.
Yes. Of course.
I will say that. Yeah.
That role.
But we already again. They had so many players. Maybe they're like they. I mean, again, depending on how the vote goes, it seems like they needed more bigs, but you never need more bigs in the All-Star game, except for. You need highlight finishers. And again, this list of players, there's like 8 guys in the game who can't really dunk.
Right.
If Adam Silver, if he had the stones, he should have named Zion Williamson. This game needs Zion Williamson.
Anthony Edwards should be playing in this game.
Okay, Anthony Edwards might have a better case than Zion.
Yeah. Like to just all those guys, like anybody who's like fun, just put him in the All-Star game. I don't get. We were ranting about the All-Star game on my show last week. It's called Roundball Rock.
You have a podcast?
Rate, review, and subscribe. Yeah. And the All-Star game is stupid. I just don't care about it. Put anybody who did one cool dunk this year in it. That's all I would say.
They didn't follow those rules for the dunk contest this year, Joey. So
no
I don't know.
Kidding.
Juan Toscano Anderson,
John,
is in it.
Juan Toscano Anderson is like, I don't know, the 4th best dunker on his own team.
Yeah.
So
I've watched games where all the Warriors needed to do to send a game to overtime was for Juan Toscano Anderson to dunk
make a layup,
and he instead threw up an offhand layup. So
it did not go in.
Yeah.
I do think with how boring a lot of these players are, maybe there's like a gambling aspect, John, for like picking the MVP that might be helpful. I can't remember another All-Star game where you look at the pool of 24 players who are going to play, and like 17 of them have no chance at winning the MVP. Like Fred VanVleet.
What are the John Morant odds, and how do we?
I would say the John Morant odds are really, really good.
Yeah,
because he's one of the few eye-popping players. You're always scared about one random big dude like the Giannis year. Like Giannis could always win it. Giannis going, was it 17 for 17 from the field?
I mean, I would actually
multiple
bet
banked
Giannis
in threes.
Again.
Yeah, so like Giannis, Steph, yes, can win it. Like even Embiid's not winning it. He's not gonna score enough, I don't think.
Jokic, I don't think has a chance.
Jokic isn't going to try, like,
unless if Jokic got like 40 assists, then he could do it, but that's it.
You have to have, it's hard for the bigs to do it because, especially Jokic, you have to have like 25%. I'm very selfishly going to try to win this thing. Like we'll call that the Kobe Bryant factor, where he's like, I'm going to shoot every time there's the opportunity to shoot. I do think, like, I think Trae Young has a chance because he could go for like 50. But I don't even think like Jimmy Butler, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum. I don't see it.
Well,
I could see Booker.
I could see Booker.
I could see Booker yucking
ball hogging it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tatum.
He would have to go
actually.
like 10 for 10 from 3. I feel like to get.
I like the Tatum pick. I know you said something about the centers not getting enough. I remember All-Star games where they kept clearing out for Embiid. Like even
probably
some
when
weird,
it gets
like
down the when
there's
it gets
like
down to the
it's
stretch.
like some weird top dogism thing going on.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Like, yeah,
I feel like the MVP is going to be
it's going to
Giannis, Steph, Ja,
DeJounte Murray.
I don't see anybody else doing it.
Chris Middleton,
like maybe
Andrew.
Young,
this is Andrew Wiggins' time.
Maybe Doncic. I mean, Levine could have it. Levine gets hotter than most guys. Like he has. I feel like the if I had to bet on a guy going like 11 for 13 from 3, I might even take Levine over like Steph.
I like the Doncic and Trae Young picks quite a bit.
Yeah,
although they may do more facilitating than scoring actually, but they're going to throw oops.
So Ja is going to light on fire, and also he's going to be able to close probably. Because of being named an all-star starter. I think he's a sneaky pick, depending again with the I haven't even looked at the odds.
Sure. Need to see these odds.
Yeah.
It also kind of depends on what teams these guys all end up on, because like that year Giannis went 17 for 17 or whatever. The backcourt he had was Steph and Chris Paul, and they were just throwing him alley-oops every single time down the floor.
Except for his banked in 3-pointers, which I'll still never forget.
I guess, by the way, I left out one big name that could obviously win MVP for narrative and also for being really, really good and accruing massive all-star stats. LeBron always.
Is he going to play though? Like,
yes.
Don't you think
he is in full legacy mode?
I think
just
he's playing large minutes he's playing large minutes on a bad Lakers.
I think he's going for the scoring title.
But I could see him tweaking his knee in the game before
that's what Chris
the
Middleton's
All-Star game
do.
to take the week off.
Chris Middleton, be honorable and excuse yourself.
Yeah.
The anglerfish wants the Cadillac or whatever the All-Star MVP gets. Like it's different for him.
Yeah,
some of these guys
are probably still going to sit out, and we might still get the Jared Allens.
Yeah.
We might still get Anthony Davis,
Jaren Jackson Jr.
coming in. I don't think they're going to name Jaren. No matter how awesome he is, no matter how many stocks per game he averages. I mean, they
gave the steals and deflections award to DeJounte this year.
Just look at Draymond's and Jaren's stats side by side. That's all I'm saying. Joey,
so they both average 5 rebounds a game? Is that what you're telling me? Yeah. All right.
That's correct.
They're both underwhelming. Yeah. Joey, what's your apology?
I would like to apologize not for anything I did directly, but for what the NBA has done to Ricky Rubio, which is just send him to the most depressed cities in America to get him to cheer them up like he's some kind of magical foreign A-team man, like he's John from Cincinnati, wandering the most magical man alive, just wandering the middle of this country to the most depressed places the NBA can send him to give him a little bit of magic. It's like Touched by an Angel. He's been to Phoenix. He's been to Salt Lake City. He's been to Minneapolis. He's been to Cleveland, and now Indianapolis.
Naptown.
It's almost like the UN has planned this to be like, hey, don't be xenophobic. Look at how magical foreign men are.
I think he also Domantas Sabonis, Ed O'Neal too.
It honestly is like we've taken one of Europe's most eligible, richest, and handsomest men.
Yeah.
And we're sending him to Indianapolis, Phoenix, and Salt Lake City to see how he survives. It's Ricky Rubio joins the NBA. Never gets to live on a coast. Never gets to play in a cool American city.
He's like a headhunter consultant. He comes in.
Say Minneapolis is cool, but it's like he needs to teach the middle of the country what tapas means.
What if he's doing a restaurant impossible where he saves a failing restaurant by turning it into a tapas bar?
He's like, it means small plates.
It honestly could be like, why
share it with your friends.
If he wasn't in the NBA, if Ricky Rubio was just a person who was worth, he's worth $50 million, a Spanish citizen who has resided in these cities, I feel like he would have been flagged Homeland Security. Like, why isn't this guy going to Miami? Why isn't this guy spending time in New York? What's wrong with Seattle with this man? How about Los Angeles? Like, nope. Just going to flyover states. It's a questionable thought. I hadn't thought of that angle. I haven't thought of the angle of cities Rubio has been forced to live in. Listen, I live in Tennessee. I know every city has cool stuff.
Yes.
I don't mean to insult Indianapolis. Fine place to go.
Yeah.
Phoenix, I've never been. I'm sure it has cool stuff because every city has cool stuff.
Every city has cool stuff. Also, very specifically, Minneapolis, I want to be very clear, is a very cool place.
It's
very
just
cool.
It just isn't
too
it
cold,
just
though.
Isn't in the top echelon of places you would choose to go if you looked like Ricky Rubio and you had the money of Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, it's almost like we as a country kidnapped him like Ilian Gonzalez as a child and have been moving him around to places where the Spanish government cannot get him back.
He's going to the Kyle Rittenhouse Safe Spaces World Tour.
John, did you do your apology?
Yeah, I had to apologize to Draymond. It hurt.
Thank you.
Hell.
You apologize for Draymond. Well, those were our breakfast in bed apologies. Before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, a word from our sponsor, the Memphis Grizzlies. One of these days, I'll remember to pull up an ad read. View the red-hot Memphis Grizzlies in style. You can get an exclusive suite night at the FedEx Forum. These 8-person suites start at just $115 per ticket. You can enjoy a private single-game suite plus parking with friends, family, colleagues, or clients. A limited number of these suite nights are available. So visit grizzlies.com/suites today before they are gone. All right, steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week? John, what's your steak and eggs?
I know we've kind of already settled the Ja versus Zion debate, who would you rather have? But I'm ready for a new debate. And let's keep it kind of Nolan centric. Let's have the Zion or Herb Jones debate. Which player would you rather
pick one? If you only keep one,
if you only keep one, you're building for the future. I think there's a chance that I don't know if you guys have seen this, but as you can tell, Joey, Keith and I get a little obsessed with our steals and deflections around here. Mm-hmm. And nobody does it better right now than Herb Jones on the Pelicans. Mm-hmm. I know people are starting to get their Peaches and Herb obsession on, but he's been a lot of fun to watch. And the Pelicans are they're 500 basketball team without Zion,
they're
making the best case.
They're making the best. They're going for the play-in.
Yeah. Well, even tanking teams are going to be in the play-in.
Well, they're going for. Apparently, they're pursuing CJ McCollum. They're going for it because they have Herb Jones. They have a foundational building block. Mm-hmm. They're like, let's build on Herb. Herb is awesome.
He's awesome. He is a passing lane. He's worse than any septuagenarian in a Corolla that I've ever seen as far as just being all over the lanes. It's unbelievable what he can. He's a disruptor.
So I called him Herb as a joke early on and immediately quit because that was just loser activity by me. I hated myself for doing it. It's dumb. Just say his name because he's awesome. I've been struck with this horribleness. The guy seems like he'd fit anywhere. Totally portable skill set. Every team would want him. And it's one of those, well, why did he go to the second round?
Well, and it's a funny thing, too, because everyone thought Trey Murphy, their first round pick, was also that. Whoa, perfect 3-and-D forward. And then it turns out that Herb Jones was way better. Not at the threes part, but the
You know what they're doing, Joey? It's the same thing you and I would do if we're making a video game franchise. Mm-hmm. You just try to pick the same player with all your picks.
Yeah,
right. You're just I'm just going to use all 3 of my picks that I've accrued on the same type of player and hope that one of them hits. I feel like this is a good strategy and more teams should do it.
So we actually had a Patreon question from Jabberwalker who was saying, how much would Keith talk about Herb Jones if Herb Jones were on the Grizzlies? We're doing it now. I would not shut up about it. We've already mentioned him a lot on this show. I feel
I'd say it'd be 80% Melton.
Maybe almost not a full Melton, but about 80%. That's pretty good, John. I'm struck
between Calathis and Melton.
We traded Jonas Valanciunas to the Pelicans. We got back these things. We had these second round picks. We were available to get some stuff. We ended up with the 30th pick. We took Santi Aldama.
Not great.
Maybe listen, Santi is doing some things on the hustle, guys. Doing some things on the hustle.
I was at Summer League sitting next to you, and I looked at you, and I was like, "This is the worst guy I've seen."
This week. Listen, I think he shot 7% at Summer League. Wasn't the best.
Taylor Jenkins is unafraid to stick him in the rotation. Joey.
Man, hey, there are some good lineup data with Santi. So I'm saying. But anyway, the Grizzlies could have taken Herb Jones. They could have taken also. Maybe the next coolest rookie, Ayo Dosunmu. Those guys were both taken in the 30s. And I'm like, oh, man, how do we miss those guys? I mean, I know Zach Kleiman and them have been hitting home runs basically, so I shouldn't feel too bad. But
when you see a guy put up, 40 and 20 against Holy Cross, you can't
pass that up.
Can't pass that up.
As a Golden State Warriors fan, I'd just like to say, hey, it could be worse. Your team could have taken James Wiseman over Melo Ball,
you could have,
or Tyrese Halliburton.
See what I'm saying, Joey, is you take 3 wise men and maybe you end up with 1.
Yeah. What if the Warriors are just taking like John Conchar instead of James Wiseman?
Look, I was at the time demanding they just take Tyrese Halliburton. I was like, I know he's not going to go 2, but he's a Warrior. Look at him. He's obviously like a Steve Kerr guy.
He looks like a Blade vampire.
Yeah.
What's your best thing, Joey?
My best thing was Doc Rivers calling out Shams Charania this week. First off, I'm just loving the hilarious Nets, what's happening to the Nets and Sixers. I'm just loving every minute of it. But this week, our man, my man Doc Rivers straight up called out Shams for being repped by Clutch and being like, I'm not gonna listen to anything that guy writes.
There actually has been, I mean, Joey, I don't want to accuse you of being fake news, but there has been a correction.
Really?
Well, I mean, Shams is not repped by Clutch.
I was about to say that's really shocking.
Yeah. This is once again Doc Rivers.
He's CAA, right? So Doc was incorrect.
Yeah. Doc's incorrect. I'm not sure exactly. I believe it was Keith Pompey of the Sixers, a Sixers beat writer, pointed out that he's not actually represented by Clutch. But that's not to say that the people who are breaking a lot of these stories about the Sixers and the Nets have literal financial interests and people, just pumping them the information that they're supposed to spread out. And I would like to reiterate, I am available to do that as well.
Yeah, me too.
If anyone wants to give us any information to share and pay me for that, I am very.
The only thing I will not do is plug your podcast while I'm doing it.
Good.
That's a little too far.
Are you talking to the Universal you, or are you talking to
Woj.
me right now?
No. I mean in the rumor.
I thought you were
Woj
specifically saying
Duncan.
the only thing I won't do is promote Fast Break Breakfast.
No, I'll promote Fast Break Breakfast, but I won't promote the old man in the 3 when I say that JJ Redick has been signed to the Cavs
and also
whatever.
Desmond Bane's going on that show and he's never been on my show. What is this? What are these connections?
Wait, the old man in the 3?
That's JJ Redick's podcast.
Oh,
That's
God.
Yeah.
So the only book he can reference is like the 7th grade reading list Hemingway.
Yeah, he went to Duke. What do you expect?
My best thing. There was a highlight that I feel like has been maybe not fully ingested nationally. I feel like I keep coming across people who have not been made aware of this. I think it's one of the more remarkable things that I've ever seen happen in an NBA game. It happened on Friday night. There was an incident in the Cavaliers Hornets game where the ball goes out of bounds off Dean Wade. A referee sees the ball go out of bounds, so he does what he's supposed to do. He blows his whistle.
Like too short.
Yeah. So he blows his whistle.
I'm filling in for Chuck. I have to.
Thank you.
Hip hop
Thank
reference.
You.
Yeah.
And I allow a beat to assume that's a reference other people understand, and then I continue. And anyway, the refs blow the play dead because the ball's out of bounds. It goes to Devontae Graham in the corner. The Hornets are down about 10. They're down about 10 points. I think 4 minutes left in the game.
And then it turns into the ending of Reservoir Dogs.
Devontae Graham then shoots like a practice 3-pointer, to which, he's shooting around. Ed Davis on the bench reaches out and kind of like hits his arm. Like, I'm not going to let you have an unencumbered practice shot. This is a competition. This is a sporting competition. No free practice shots. Darius Garland's on the sideline, does a similar thing. The referee near the play.
Excuse me, All-Star Darius Garland. Keep going.
All-Star Darius Garland. Near the play. The referee near the play sees Ed Davis touch Devontae Graham, who's on the court in the field of play, and calls a technical foul because he doesn't understand the ball's been whistled dead. All right. He didn't hear the first whistle. Apparently, this rule exists that no one knew about, which I would like to say, whenever we criticize referees, it is always fun to find out that there's rules we never heard of. Mm-hmm. They do have a hard job. But apparently, if you touch a player from out of bounds,
we get it, bootlicker. All right, keep going.
Thank you. Apparently, if you're not in the game and you touch a player in live action and they shoot a shot and miss, that basket counts. Which is kind of weird because you had that Nets assistant who deflected a pass like 2 weeks ago that nobody saw. I don't know if there's a points awarded there. But anyway, Devontae Graham misses this shot. A referee calls a technical foul and says, basket's good. That's 3 points for the Hornets. The Cavaliers bench is out of their mind because they're like, the play's been dead for 2 seconds. And so there's this whole thing, this I don't know, this fracas, not a fracas, but like everyone just starts yelling and the referees huddle. And at this point, the Cavaliers are like, they're going to figure it out. The one ref who blew the play dead is going to say, hey, I blew my whistle. I know we're in COVID times, we have these little condoms over our whistles that keep our droplets from going anywhere. And it makes the Peeless Fox 40.
I'll tell you one thing.
Not be as distinct.
Too Short's whistle did not have a condom over it in his song. All right, keep going.
And so they huddle up. They talk for a very long time. I've watched the League Pass broadcast for both teams, both Hornets and Cavs. Both teams assume they're discussing the out of bounds call. Neither League Pass broadcast thinks, hey, they're about to award one team 4 points.
So I watched this. When I saw the clip, I watched the clip for no less than like 10 minutes.
I did not understand what was happening.
No one understood what was happening on the court.
I had to have someone in our Patreon only Slack chat like break it down bit by bit. And then when they finally said like, yeah, and they gave this guy in the corner who took a practice shot 4 points. It was like, whoa, it was like the end of Usual Suspects. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah, what? It was the Kobayashi mug dropping to the floor in slow motion. It was absolutely.
The first time I watched it, I was like, I kept thinking it was like, the problem was the out of bounds call. And I was just staring at Dean Wade's Herman Munster feet. Yeah. He has the biggest feet I've ever seen.
He could play Jack Reacher. He could. Dean Wade might be the Jack Reacher of the NBA.
So when they finally announce what happens,
feet like hams.
When the guy
feet like Easter hams.
When the referees finally break their huddle and they're like, we're awarding 3 points to the Cavaliers and we have a technical foul on Ed Davis and we're shooting one free throw. It's one of the best shocked bench reactions you'll ever see.
Kevin Love.
Because like there are the NBA is full of Luka Doncic being mad over a foul call and making a stunned face, or Doc Rivers being angry about a foul call and feeling aggrieved. But you don't normally have unanimous consent of 10 people all stunned that this is the worst thing they've ever seen. And
these refs were Ozymandias blowing up Manhattan to bring the two sides together. They were mutant squid.
The bench reaction actually reminded me of something that happened in a Warrior game I was at once, where so the Warriors used to run a promotion that
were the fans booing Joe Lacob?
No, well, I could play that clip right now.
That was unanimous. Do you have the button right ready?
Oh, I do. It's all, my finger's always on the booing Joe Lacob button. No, they used to run a promotion where if a team shot under 74% or something from the free throw line, everyone got free chicken nuggets, the opposing team. And it was the end of the game and the number was at like 70%. If the guy had to miss one free throw and the entire arena would get chicken nuggets, and the Warriors were up by like 40 points or something. And Harrison Barnes was like really into it. And he threw a towel in the air from the bench to try and distract the free throw guy and got a technical foul. And everyone on the bench was like, no.
That's amazing. So it turns out that, yes, the referees after the game gave one of the only mea culpas you'll ever hear in these post-game pressers with the referees. They're like, yeah, in our huddle, we mistakenly reconstructed the events because they weren't allowed to look at replay. This was not an event where you're allowed to go look at the replay, and they're just getting together and be like, hey, would you blow your whistle? I didn't hear it. And then the guy probably said, yeah, the shot was being attempted. So they totally blew this call. It ends up being a very, very close game. Even more, as if that wasn't enough. This is, like, again, probably the worst mistake you'll ever see in a basketball game as far as the officials. The end of the game gets very, very close, perhaps sparked by this 4-point gift for the Hornets. It comes down to Kevin Love getting fouled, getting 2 free throws where he makes them, and those are game-winning free throws. And the Cavaliers fortunately end up winning. The last 2-minute report, which doesn't cover the whole mistake with 4 minutes left, but it covers this final foul. They went to replay. The foul was challenged that was called on Devontae Graham on Kevin Love. They went to replay, and this is like me losing my faith. This is like a sea change moment. The referees looked at the replay and then they interpreted the rule incorrectly. They gave Kevin Love 2 free throws. The last 2-minute report had to say, yeah, these guys who kicked that call with 4 minutes left looked at this other play in slow motion with 1.7 seconds left and then applied the rules incorrectly. It should not have been 2 free throws. I don't know what happens here. Does
the end
Joey
of
Crawford?
Burn After Reading? What did we learn here? What are we learning today?
No, is Monty McCutcheon, is he got a wet team that's going to take out these guys? Like, are we not going to see these refs for a while? I assume they've definitely been like, they're losing games. As soon as there's enough healthy referees, these guys are going to get punished for this somehow as far as being taken out of the rotation. But that's just a big error. If you haven't seen it, again, look it up. It's with 4 minutes and 43 seconds left, I believe, the fourth quarter of Friday's Cavaliers-Hornets game. It is several minutes of neither announcing team have any idea what's going on, and then the rest of the game, both teams talking about it.
The audio gives you no clues as to what you're watching. If you try to find this online, the audio gives you no clues. It's like it's one of those things where it's like, might as well be watching cricket for a while. I'm like, I don't know what sport this is anymore.
So that was my best thing. The opposite of our cream of wheat. I mean, the opposite of our steak and eggs best thing is our cream of wheat worst thing. And my worst thing, I'm sticking with the Cavs. We've already talked about Rubio. He's been sent to some cities maybe he would not prefer. They got involved in this very strange game on Friday, but they pulled off a big trade. And I will admit, there are some positive sides to this trade for the Cavaliers. They're adding a guy in Caris LeVert to take minutes from basically no one. I mean, like, they were missing players. They need just another pretty good player.
The problem is they're adding Caris LeVert.
Yeah. So we have spent so much time. I personally have spent so much time talking about the Cavaliers on this show. We have a very limited amount of time that we fill each week. It's like I'm using up my Herb Jones time on the Cavaliers this season because I'm enamored with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I do not like watching Caris LeVert play basketball. I don't think he's even very good.
I don't like watching Colin Sexton play basketball and don't think he's very good either.
Well, so that might work itself out there. That might work itself out. That next year they might have Caris LeVert and Colin Sexton. But this Cavaliers team, which has been one of the stories of the season, their best player so first time All-Star Darius Garland making that third year point guard leap. You got Jared Allen making another little mini leap, benefiting playing beside Garland and Evan Mobley. He's locked up for a long time and also very, very young. And then who John and I think is the best player, Evan Mobley, is a rookie. I don't totally get sending out 2 pretty good picks for this guy. Also, for the guy they brought in, Caris, who is inefficient and a bad passer. You know what I think happened? I think the Cavaliers, they had this big week. A lot of stuff happened. They had Chetty Osman had a game. He's actually a little chip in my hand to the award ceremony. Yeah. So in this game, he was 3 for 16 from the field and had 12 assists. And I think that was the straw that broke the Cavaliers back. And they're like, listen, we can't have a guy out here going 3 for 16 with 12 assists. Let's try to get a guy who can go 3 for 16 and have 2 assists. And that's why they said, let's go get ourselves some Caris LeVert. So I'm not a huge fan of the deal from the Cavaliers side, but maybe it'll work. Maybe it will make them better. They got two of the best rebounders to clean up all of Caris LeVert's bricks.
I will say I do love his uncle's band, LeVert, though.
Dude.
We're pro LeVert. This is a pro LeVert podcast.
And I do think, like, I think Joey brought up Colin Sexton, and I do think Caris LeVert is like Colin Sexton in that, like, sorry, Joey, it's not exactly a stray, but if a nerd is looking at these players on paper, they every red flag goes off. But I think Colin Sexton and Caris LeVert are the type of players that, if they're not asked to do too much, can help contribute to winning basketball. And I think especially Caris LeVert, not so much Colin Sexton,
because he's only 5'11".
Well, I think especially Caris LeVert has at multiple stops in his career been asked to do way too much.
I feel like he likes doing too much. I don't know. Jeremy Grant. He's like, just give me the ball and clear out. Let's do it.
I don't think he does. I just think there have been times where he was one of the only guys left to initiate offense, and that has resulted in disaster. Especially, we have to mention this if we're going to talk about Caris LeVert, one of the worst end of game playoff performers in his short history ever. Just an absolute disaster at the end of games.
And he was in the bubble too, where everybody
made every
50% better.
just playing them right out of games for the Nets.
Jared Allen, obviously teammates with Caris in Brooklyn. So like if he had the vote of confidence from Jared Allen, so maybe it will work out.
Trade for D'Lo, bring the whole band back together.
It is kind of amazing. I mean, a couple parts of this. The Pacers, incredible work. They turned Victor Oladipo into
LeVert. Has not played basketball since they
into these picks. That's the first round pick this year from the Cavaliers. Also the Rockets' second round pick this year. So that's 2 picks in the top 35 probably. Also another second round pick. Like that's feels like money laundering or something. That seems illegal. Right. Like how do they turn? When is that in it? That's one of those NFT scams.
Compared to last week's trade too. Yeah. You know, compared to last week's trade, and it feels like an absolute haul.
Well, that's like the weird thing about these guys getting traded. Why wouldn't the Cavaliers offer less?
Norman Powell instead.
It seems like, I mean, Norman Powell's a little older, but
we didn't talk about this trade that much. Like, look at the Mavs.
Haven't at all.
Norman Powell and Robert Covington would be the second and third best player on the Mavs.
I mean,
it could have been had for nothing.
Could the Mavericks not have offered more draft cap? Like, would they probably wouldn't trade Josh Green. But like, do they have a first round pick that can give? Because like, it seems like with Tim Hardaway Jr. being injured,
right?
Maybe, I mean, I guess Portland was saying just getting off salary totally was a big deal to them, even though Winslow, his salary's guaranteed for next year.
They might really love Keon Johnson though.
That
might be the thing.
Where's he going to play? They don't even have a G League affiliate. Like,
that is funny.
What are you going to do with him?
One of the guys who desperately needs G League time. Also, this has to be bad karma. You know, we gave Rubio so much credit for giving that locker room some good vibes. They trade away Rubio, and then they give LeVert his jersey. We're in the same number. Seems like
I don't like it.
Seems like
bad vibes.
Anyway, John, what's your worst thing?
I kind of feel like I'm in an episode of The Prisoner or like Groundhog Day, Norm Ryerson moment where I'm having to relive the same pundits, redo the same boring James Harden takes again, where we're going to pretend that James Harden makes your team bad, even though this has been like refuted and tried in different instances and in different settings. Like I listened to it wasn't even an entire podcast. It was like, you know how, are they fleets? Are they fleets? Where it's just like brief moments, 30 seconds or so from something. Sure. And like, I just kept being hit with like, James Harden is fat again. James Harden is not going to help, the Sixers as much as, Bradley Beal or something like that. And it's like, what world are we living in where I have to do this again? James Harden, is he kind of miserable to watch? Absolutely. Is he one of the best scorers and passers? Yeah. Is he bad at defense? Yes, he's still bad at defense and sometimes doesn't try. Why do we have to do this every year at the trade deadline? Like, how can this be happening again? Joey, I know you enjoyed the new Matrix movie, but for me, it was like, I can't believe I'm watching another bad Matrix sequel when I saw the other bad Matrix sequels. Why did I do this to myself? Like, I'm back in the Matrix and I don't like it.
I mean, the Rockets, the Rockets wish they had a James Harden to trade for nothing like they did last time. They could have gotten a Caris LeVert and a Jared Allen. No, the Nets, they have not lost 8 straight. They have they lost 11.
He is pouting.
11
he is playing poorly, but we've done this
really
before.
bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched the games, but they're not good.
They scored 75 in the first half on Sunday and 29 in the second.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like global warming? Is that
my
like
favorite comment?
75 to 29 in 2 halves?
My favorite comment is during one of the games, they're like, and this is where you see the lack of Joe Harris is really hurting the Nets. I'm like, I think it's the lack of Kevin Durant, actually.
Yes, Joe Harris is like super old. You know, he's 30. He's 2 years older than Steven Adams. Coming back.
Steven Adams is the most secretly young player, though.
Yeah.
I like to tell people that he's 25, which is a lie, but it's fun to tell them that.
You know who's 25? Andrew Wiggins.
What?
Doesn't that blow your mind?
Yes,
yeah.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Nets and James Harden. It is interesting, John. So we have seen, I feel like, a unanimous shift in the punditry to now everyone saying James Harden's next contract is a disaster.
Right.
Which feels still too much. Like Chris Paul just happened like 3 years ago, guys.
Yeah.
Where everyone said it was a bad contract.
But also Russell Westbrook happened too.
That's true.
But James Harden's game is like
James Harden
he's just a shooter who
I'm
play
just
out
saying,
old man games. I mean, if you want to say his deceleration will suddenly go away, okay, but
I think what will suddenly go away is the caring about basketball. That's like Chris Paul cares about basketball more than maybe anybody, and I don't really think that that's true of James Harden. Is all I'll say.
Trade the man to Atlanta, to Magic City, where he can thrive.
Yeah, he does seem like he need a change of scenery.
I think it's not. There's too much focus on James Harden chemistry issues. It has been said the reason he's upset is Kyrie Irving is such a jackanape. The reason that he's doing this pouting is because he doesn't understand how this can be allowed to happen.
Well, and also though, Kevin Durant, let's be honest, is miserable to be around as well.
At least online.
Joey, what's your worst thing?
My worst thing is what's happened to a friend of mine. My next door neighbor is a Sacramento Kings fan. Ooh. And every day I wake up to texts. I wake up at 2 p.m. to texts from him about some rumor that Kings fans are talking about, rumored trade. And it's like, hey, should we trade? This morning it was, should we trade De'Aaron Fox for Julius Randle? And I was like, yes, but why would the Knicks do that?
I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't trade De'Aaron Fox for Julius Randle.
But it's just like, it feels like I'm constantly having to talk to someone who is currently in Stockholm syndrome about like just in an unwinnable situation, and it sucks. It's
that's rough for you, Joey, and your neighbor. I don't understand what the Kings are doing at this trade deadline. The Knicks also, they've just been again connected to CJ McCollum, where it's like, and like their fans are all out on Julius Randle again. I don't know what that team is supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a hard question where like, I'm a pretty big fan of CJ McCollum, but I feel like if you get him, you should be a team that's definitely going to be in the playoffs, because I think he's the most valuable as a half-court creation scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's one of the few guys who could get a good shot whenever he wants. So if you're a good playoff team who needs someone to help you do that in the postseason, yes. If you're the Knicks, I'm not sure. I don't sort of get it. But also it
feels like CJ's the guy you trade Ricky Rubio on his next stop in like white people hell. Not Caris LeVert. Come on.
Anyway, those were our worst things. Before the awards segment of the program, we have a couple of listener submitted questions. The croissant questionnaire.
All right. Drew asks, fast forward to the first matchup of Embiid versus Simmons on a new team. Any predictions for what might transpire? Will Embiid troll Simmons? How will Simmons react? Will there be actual smoke and fireworks, or will it be an overhyped, much ado about nothing NBA soap opera? Keith, what do you think? You think it's going to get weird, or you think it'll be, in Drew's words, much ado about nothing?
Yeah, I think as much as Joel Embiid likes to destroy some of his foes, a la Andre Drummond run-ins, Hassan Whiteside run-ins, I do think with Ben Simmons, it won't be much of a show. I do think there'll be some empathy for his the other side of that duel there, and I don't.
Ben Simmons underrated MMA moves. I don't know if you remember him and Karl Anthony Towns, just instant choke out. But like, I mean, if it gets physical, I think Ben can hold his own, and Joel probably knows that. He might just keep this in the DMs, keep it in the mentions, maybe. Plus, I feel like Joel feels bad at this point.
I do not. I don't think Joel Embiid actually has ever felt bad about anything. I don't know. Like the Sixers are just sad to me. Everything is sad about them. It's not even funny anymore. That's my take. Like Ben Simmons is like a weirdly it feels like a death of a salesman or something. Just like a man who is like destroying himself because, or it's, you know what? It's more like, it's like, he's like Othello with Rich Paul as Iago in his ear being like, yo.
But I've heard Rich Paul like tried to talk him into showing up.
I don't think so.
The strangest thing,
too busy getting yelled at by Adele.
The strangest thing for Daryl Morey possibly not doing anything this year is the fact that like one of their main rivals for coming out of the Eastern Conference, the Nets, are falling apart. Like the window is now, Embiid is an MVP candidate and the Nets are falling apart. You should probably, you're just going to punt on this year and be like, we'll take care of it in the offseason. That seems kind of wild. John, let's do one more question. You got one more question there?
Sure do. Jabber asks, does AD have more or less help now than on his Pelican teams? That's Anthony Davis, clown shoes himself, day clothes, street clothes. Does he have more or less help now than his Pelicans teams? What do you think, Joey? What do you compare these rosters? Break it down.
Well, he has LeBron James, so he has more help. I'm sorry, like that's a boring answer, but the one of the top 3 players of all time. Yeah, he's got more help. The problem with the Lakers is AD, if you ask me, but I don't even want to get into that.
AD's an all-star snub in my book.
Yeah.
He played well for the first time, and I don't know how long I can remember. So maybe they should snub him more often. Yeah. He was motivated the other night.
There was that year that the Pelicans traded for the Mirotic year, where I felt like their supporting cast was pretty deep. With Drew Holiday,
a hell of a player, and they, I'm almost I want to argue,
but none
with
of
Joey,
these guys are LeBron James.
I want to argue with Joey, but he's just going to keep over enunciating, and then I'm going to feel stupid.
Yeah, they had.
None of these guys Davis, are BJ Jr.'s dad.
No, but Anthony Davis, Julius Randle, Nikola Mirotic, Drew Holiday, like those are guys, and then like the rest of the squad wasn't like nobodies. The rest of the Lakers squad is kind of nobody.
Yeah, but I mean, how many of those guys have made the finals like 12 years in a row or whatever?
Listen,
I'm telling you, he's just going to keep saying it.
You're right. You're right that LeBron James trumps all those things. So yeah. Anyway, those were our listener submitted questions. If you have a question you want answered on air or as part of our monthly Zoom hangout, you have to become a Patreon supporter. You can also, if you join Patreon, get involved with our Slack chat where we talk about basketball, the Amazon Prime original series Reacher, and many other things around the clock. So go to patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Join that community of listeners that's gone the extra step and gotten involved with things like the Pickle Pick'em, where we pick all the games Monday through Thursday against the spread. Whoever is the best at that. Oh, congratulations to Exit Flagger winning 2 months in a row.
Never been done.
Also, congratulations to Monte World Peace, I believe, who missed the most. That's right. If you finished in last place, you get a prize too. So I'll be mailing shirts to both of those guys for their performance in last month's Pickle Pick'em. You can still
Round
sign
ball
up
rocker
for
Sean
February.
Keane often showing up in the most losses column.
Sean Keane also won our fantasy football championship. That was a couple months ago, but belated congrats. I've been holding a grudge about that one. But if you want to get involved with the listeners, get involved in the Slack chat, play some games with us, do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. It is now time for the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given to the worst performance in a box score. This week, we have several honorable mentions. Shetty Osmond, 3 for 16, but 12 assists. Tyler Hero and Desmond Bain, 5 for 18. Kyrie Irving, Fred VanVleet, 6 for 20. Cade Cunningham, in that game I already apologized for from last Sunday, had a triple-double, but was 6 for 21 from the field. We have 3 nominees as they occurred chronologically through the week. Hang on. I'm looking for an Anthony Simons game.
Oh.
All right. Anthony Simons in a loss to the Thunder. Losing to the Thunder? Oh, no. He was 3 for 16, had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 turnovers and 2 personal fouls. Cole Anthony in a win against the Pacers was 2 for 15, had 15 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 3 turnovers, and 3 personal fouls. And then Josh Primo of the Spurs, who I picked up in our negative fantasy league this day. He
outbid me by $1.
Dropped a 60-pointer in our negative fantasy league. In a loss to the Heat, he had 4 points on 1 of 13 shooting, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 2 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. So we have Cole Anthony, 2 for 15, 15 points, 8 assists. Anthony Simons, 3 for 16, 8 points, 5 rebounds. And Josh Primo, 1 for 13, 4 points. This one seems pretty easy.
Primo.
Yeah. A very primo selection. Congratulations.
Chef's kiss.
Joshua Primo on winning your first career international.
Is that the youngest iShopper ever?
Pancakes. I have no idea. There's no way to find out.
Right.
The intern has supposed to have been logging all of our winners for the past 7 years. And I'm not sure what the progress of that is. It turns out I'm supposed to hire my 7-year-old to do this. And then I can hide all of our podcast income money as payments to my kid. Apparently, I just learned about this tax scheme. It's inspired by The Ringer on how to get out of income taxes by paying my children. Anyway, it's now time for the
not paying your employees that well, though.
Lottery. Yeah. It's now time for the Lethal Lottery, America's least favorite game show, a season-long competition where John, Chuck, and myself attempt to pick the worst player on TNT's Thursday night games. Last week, Chuck won again, but more importantly, it's not who wins, it's who loses. Chuck gave John yet another defeat. John sinking to the bottom of the Lethal Lottery standings. Chuck sterned him. He used the powers of the David Stern ball to swap Chris Paul to John, took your Jay Crowder. By the way, this could have been an apology, John. If during the Lethal Lottery, someone uses the Stern ball to change where Chris Paul goes, we need to do something to acknowledge that moment. We need to celebrate that in some way, some kind of sound effect. I don't know. I can add in when I'm editing the show, but I do feel bad that we missed this opportunity. Anyway, John, since you lost, you will draw from the lethal lottery. There are there is one stern ball and 2 silver balls. If you get a silver ball, you could pick, again, we're picking from the Thursday night games. Do you have games for us, John? Who is the Thursday night TNT games?
The games are Nets at Wizards and Bucks at Suns, and I cannot do any more Suns games, so we're going to do Nets at Wizards.
Nets, Wizards. So John will draw first. He's looking for silver or stern ball. Joey, you're a veteran of Fast Break Breakfast, so you can play for Chuck. A silver ball for John. You're picking from Nets, Wizards. Honestly, is this a road game? Do we know if is Kyrie available to play?
Kyrie is available.
I mean, this is post trade deadline.
Mm-hmm. Who even knows who's going to be on the Wizards?
Who's going to play for the Wizards? Is Kyle Kuzma available? Here's what you should do. You should pick a player who you think is going to get traded to the Wizards.
Ha!
By the way, the best thing about that Caris LeVert trade, listen, all right, the Cavs are going for it. Good luck to you guys. That trade was executed with both teams in the same building an hour before tip-off.
Awkward.
Mm-hmm.
They can have Caris just walk across to the other locker room. That's how all trades should be done.
Well, that's like that scene there's that scene in Moneyball where that happens, where Billy Bean trades for Ricardo Rincon, who is on the Indians and is playing the A's that
I don't think you can say Indians on the show, Joey. I don't.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Cleveland baseball team.
I don't know.
Guardians.
Do they have a new name?
The
Guardians. That's right. That's right.
Guardians,
That's right.
Yeah. And Billy Bean is like furious that Ricardo Rincon can't just walk down the hall and put on an A's uniform. And he's like, but I need to move my family.
Also, there's physicals. I mean, honestly, Caris LeVert trades have worked out great for him because the last time he got traded, they found cancer.
Right.
Which was good because they treated it. He's
gonna find like MLS syndrome. It's a nightmare.
Anyway,
I'm gonna break up this.
All right, Wizards Nets.
This chatter with a shocking selection of Denny Avdia.
Denny Avdia is actually on my negative fantasy team. That's a very strong pick. I get to pick since I finished second. Give me that stern ball. Give me that stern
Your
ball.
silver ball.
Oh, son of a!
Chuck's gonna win again.
I'm going to try to think of a guy who might get hot. On the Nets, I'm going to go with, all right, Blake Griffin knocked down 5 threes in the first half of the game the other day. I'm going to go with Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin. All right, Joey, you have the stern ball, so you can pick who you think is going to do the best, and then you can swap out with me and John. You can either.
The problem is, I don't know if James Harden or Bradley Beal are going to be on either of these teams.
Honestly, I wouldn't even take Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal. Please take Bradley Beal.
If, of course, the player you pick is not available or has been traded, our Patreon supporters in the Slack, they always vote for the replacement on Thursday. Mm-hmm.
So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my least favorite Summer League player of all time. I'm not even going to use the stern ball powers.
Okay.
And I'm taking DeAndre Bembry.
Oh, that's amazing. Nets. So that's very well played. Honestly, you're not risking a lot because if you use the stern ball, you are risking picking up a double loss if you end up losing with the stern ball. So John will go with Denny Avdia. I will go with Blake Griffin, and Joey for Chuck going with DeAndre Bembry.
Because I think he's going to be starting for James Harden.
Because Harden's held out again. Bembry's put up some incredible iShop stats in the Negative Fantasy League. Anyway, par fadeaway, gentlemen. What things are we looking forward to, and or what would you like to say about Reacher?
Strong start.
The thing I'd like to say about Reacher is I loved every second of it, but also it feels like a prestige network making a CBS show. It feels like if NCIS had gore and boobs.
It has a lot of NCIS vibes. We're going to be spoiler free, but I think the second or third episode where Reacher is in this very small town, and
how would you spoil an episode of Reacher?
Well, anyway, I don't want to give away any details, but like this put upon low sheriff's deputy character is like all of a sudden drops out of the blue. I was recruited by the CIA and Secret Service and scored the 99th percentile in testing. And it's just like, why would you add that to a character? That was so bizarre. It's
this very same character is a black man obsessed with.
No, this is a different character.
This is a different character.
Yeah. The person who's doing like a Good Place impersonation, who is a Harvard graduate who decided to take a job on the police force in the South. It's all the character backgrounds are so strange.
So what happens when an English person writes a CIA military thriller set in the South?
The actor who plays Finlay, the detective, is the worst actor I've ever seen on a on a TV show. He feels like, I texted this to John earlier. He feels like the Max Fisher players performing Reacher at Rushmore, because the costuming is insane. He's bad. It is crazy.
Listen, I'm like you, Joey. I'm 4 episodes in. I think I loved every moment of the first 3. I thought the 4th episode was horrible. But we'll see. I'm sticking with it.
It gets way worse / better.
Yeah, I assume it. I assume it's going to. Anyway,
don't worry. Reacher's is gonna paint his face camouflage at any minute now, Keith.
I can't
bright.
Is he gonna go no predator mud?
Predator mud. Bright green.
Yeah,
I can't wait. It's very silly. We received no kickback for telling you to watch the Amazon Prime series.
My favorite thing about Reacher so far, though, is that like they do such a good job of making him seem like the T-1000 in the early episodes. That later, when he has fights that are like they actually hit him back, etc., you're just like, this is bunk.
Honestly, one of the things I don't like about it. Anyway, it goes back to the Matrix sequels. Why is the omnipotent character having difficulty fighting?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
I should also say this entire episode has been pro Amazon. Buying Amazon episodes, watching Amazon TV shows. Amazon is horrible. I hate it. I'm sorry. But Reacher's great.
Things to look forward to. I mean, it's the trade deadline. Insane things are going to happen on Thursday. I feel like I'm stuck in this position. John, you're a Grizzlies fan.
Yeah, my other favorite thing about Reacher is that every single set looks like it was built the day before they shot, and is lit by like the halogen bulbs of like a Humvee cast from God's own ass, like just unbelievably bizarre, clean, sterile sets. Like this is an old timey Southern jailhouse. And it don't look like Mayberry. It looks like, it looks like the model home of the finest subdivision you've ever been in.
The barber shop that Reacher keeps going to looks like a hipster barber shop in Brooklyn that they just put an old man in.
That happens to hold the secret plan of the 30-year-old, 30 long deceased detective from years gone by. And the black guy loves 38 Special in Kansas. That's a character trait that we're supposed to buy.
John, on the Grizzlies, I want to know
if Jack Reacher were on the Grizzlies.
This
I
one
think
rumor,
he would play the 5.
Would you trade Jack Reacher and 2 crappy first-round picks that are going to be in the 20s for Miles Turner? This is a rumor. Jack Reacher, two bad picks. Would you bring in Miles Turner to what the Grizz have cooking?
No, I can't give up Reacher on the verge of a season that might not be set in the American South.
Well played. Anyway, well, that's the full show for today. We'll be back later in the week, possibly with a Twitter Spaces thing. I'm not sure when the second episode this week's going to come out.
Oh, do you have to apologize for something?
Yeah.
Are you getting canceled later this week?
No,
Is that why you're going on Twitter Spaces?
I'm not dropping a podcast 2 hours before the trade deadline hits on Thursday, which is the normal schedule. So just stay in touch, stay involved on the Patreon, in the Slack, and on Twitter at Fastbreak Break. Also, if you need more information on the Grizzlies and local and regional sports, go to grindcitymedia.com. You will get your up-to-date and exclusive coverage and analysis of the Grizzlies. Grind City Media is always there. Home and road, providing the most comprehensive coverage you can get. Visit grindcitymedia.com or follow on Twitter at Grind City Media today. Anyway, Joey, thanks so much for being on. John, pleasure as always.
Listen to Round Ball Rock, my NBA podcast.
You guys are the best.
Preacher.
Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing. All right, fellas.
Guys got to go.
Awesome
That was
stuff.
great. Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, buddy.